watching BattleCast Primetime. Patch 111 to the rescue. APOC has more.
Red Alert 3 goes platinum, while the Command & Conquer franchise gets a much-deserved honor.
And as always, the best RTS action coming straight to you in the BattleCast 10. A self-proclaimed C&C icon moves on to colder pastures, and an epic main event is coming your way. Settle in, folks. BattleCast Primetime starts now. You're logged in to BattleCast Primetime. Here with my trusty co-commander, Raj Joshi. I'm David Silverman. Thanks for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's official. Red Alert 3 has gone platinum, selling over 1 million copies worldwide. Red Alert 3 is quickly making its mark in the C&C history books thanks to your support.
And last month, it was all about patches. This month, it's map packs. Available now, get the Decimation Pack for the Xbox 360 to boost your on- and offline skirmish skills. For those of you playing on the PS3, be sure you have the free Isles of Conflict map pack, and watch for more DLC on its way.
A special overdue thanks to IGN and the community at large. As many of you probably heard, in late April, the original Command & Conquer was named to IGN's Hall of Fame in recognition of its influence on the RTS genre. We couldn't be more proud, which is why we're putting IGN in the BattleCast Primetime Hall of Fame. Congratulations, guys.
Ladder Season 3 is in full swing with RA3 and Kane's Wrath. Qualification round number 1 is now over, and round 2 is just beginning. APOC will have a little more, couldn't resist, in his corner. But the most exciting information, the finalists in our ladder season will win a trip to Cologne, Germany. That's right, not just a fragrance, but a city, to compete in a special match as part of the Gamescom convention.
The last piece of news I have for you is more of a personal nature. After 3+ years manning the Command & Conquer franchise, I am moving on to other opportunities at EA to work at BioWare on Dragon Age Origins, the epic RPG coming out this October for the PC and console. What began in February has turned a little bit more permanent, so I'm actually going to be leaving the constant sunshine of EALA to explore more of the land of maple leaves, subarctic weather, and free healthcare. It has been an absolute pleasure and honor of mine to work with the Command & Conquer team over the past few years, and I will certainly miss my baby, C&C TV, and especially BattleCast Primetime. Thank you, everyone, for watching and playing such a pivotal role in its success. This will certainly be something that I will always remember. Raj, it's your line.
You're leaving?
Yes, Raj. Like I said, I'm going on to BioWare to work on Dragon Age Origins.
But you're leaving?
Well, Raj, you said last episode you'd get along fine without me.
Well, I didn't mean, well, I did, but I didn't want you. Oh, David.
Here you go, buddy. Let me cheer you up. And here's your BattleCast 10. 10. First up, Mali takes on 108-109 in an allied mirror on Fire Island. Both players go for the PK rush, amassing small armies of infantry to rush the opposing base. The two armies stare each other down, daring the other to make the move. How will they break the stalemate? 108's got the answer, an MCV rush. The Peacekeepers fall back to Mali's base and 108 takes the invitation, mowing down PKs before unpacking in enemy territory. 108's MCV isn't long for this world, but he's built a barracks on the fly and Mali misses it completely. While the yellow player licks his wounds, 108 gets an engineer out of that barracks and into Mali's con yard, walking away with Mali's entire construction operation. Woohoo! But get ready for this comeback, kids. Mali starts with a PK rush of his own, taking out 108's undefended land base and killing his ability to produce more dudes. Then it's an engineer rush, forcing a sell-off of 108's entire base. South. 108 struggles to get another base up and running, but Mali's got other plans. A deployed harvester lets him tech to tier 3 without a con-yard, and he gets Titania on the map. With no units to defend and no way to escape, 108 watches his brilliant offense slaughtered in the second half. And Mali walks away with an impressive long-shot victory.
In C&C 3 action, Ukraine Stars Nod takes on Jetfire Skrin on Small Town, USA. Both players move quickly to the corner expansions and work on amassing base-killing armadas. But it's Ukraine Star who strikes first, using a wave of avatars to walk right through Jetfire's front door. The Skrin try and seize the opportunity to take Ukraine's base, but are pushed off by some excellent micro by Jetfire's Venoms. A last-minute save by a planetary assault carrier fells Ukraine's avatar push, giving Jetfire a captured assault force of towering Nod robots. This ground power, backed by the long-range bombardment of the Skrin warships, turns imminent defeat into last-minute victory for Jetfire, reminding us to never let perfectly good giant robots go to waste. even if they belong to your enemy.
8.
Back to Red 3 with Dwelf and Zero Pones, who show us another aggressive MCV rush strategy. While Dwelf preps a Jumanji spam, Zero packs up his MCV and moves it straight into enemy territory, setting up shop and dropping a reactor and a barracks inside his opponent's fledgling base. Bears and base defenses clear the way for 2 heroic conscripts to obliterate Dwelf's land structures, forcing him to flee to the ocean. But it ain't safe there, folks. Oh no! Is Dwelf down for the count? His Air Force says otherwise. Vindicators get to work on the rest of Zero's expansion, finally focus firing on Zero's already damaged MCV. With a well-timed blitzkrieg, Dwelf gives Melee a run for his money as this month's comeback kid.
7.
Over to Kane's Wrath for some Traveler 59 versus Nod action courtesy of Jopie and Doofen. True to their nature, the Traveler Scrin pull a sneaky first move, running a swarm of disintegrators along the top of the map and then down into Doofen's base. A second wave cements Jopie's assault, this time using Seekers and Shock Troops. But they're matched by the sting of a Scorpion tank force, which pushes the surviving Seekers all the way back to Jopie's base. Doofen seizes his chance and attacks with his huge Scorpion force, but he didn't count on Jopie's Mechapede. Boom boom, baby! With room to breathe, Jopie expands throughout the map, grabbing the central tip field and pushing out an Eradicator Hexapod. A double-pronged attack by the Hexapod and Mechapede obliterate the Nod base, and Jopie wins on the strength of the Scrin mecha units.
6.
An exciting infantry war heats up in Red 3 between Lixo Jurin and Zlex on Temple Prime. Zlex rushes to infantry, flooding Lixo's base with dudes, but the Empire's got his dojos ready to defend, pushing out endless Imperial warriors backed by packed-up dojo cores, which can crush those peacekeepers even when they put up their riot shield. His base cleared, Lixo heads for the central ridge. Some amazing micro from Zlex takes out all of Lixo's dojo cores, and his MCV just runs straight over the rest of the Imperial infantry. Not to be dissuaded so easily, though. Lixo pushes out another massive swarm of dudes and rushes them all the way around the ridge straight into Zlex's base. With a well-timed tank buster ambush, Lixo puts a serious dent in the allied resources. Zlex has only one option left, a full frontal assault with his collected peacekeepers and his MCV. Lixo's got to Tengo's too late and has no defense against the massive PK army. Zlex's last push works. Lixo is confined to the oceans, and it's not long before he's out of credits and out of ideas and out of the game as he throws in the towel and succeeds the match to Zlex's powerful army.
5.
It's Synergy to the Max versus Yomiko for a furious GDI Scrin Battle Royale. Each side amasses huge tank armies, destroying their opponent's respective tit spikes before turning their guns on each other. It's a gnarly back and forth, and neither force emerges with the win, but Synergy steps it up and brings in the big guns, sending tripods and warships to mangle Yomiko's forward base. It's not the game-ending siege he might have wanted, but Synergy manages to distract the GDI forces while he builds a mothership just outside the base. How will Yomiko get out of this one? By using the Scrin units against their former masters. That's right, missile squads down the mothership before it can fire, and the captured tripods make deep burns into Synergy's territory. With the tank and pitbull backup, this strike force manages to counter an aggressive Scrin base killing strategy and walk away with a massive win.
4.
It's Taiwanese sensation Pencil's last Red 3 game before going into C&C retirement, and S-Boy is going to make him work if he wants to get out on top. Pencil goes to the air using Cryocopter Vindicator Strike to take out S-Boy's refineries. The Soviets expand and try to take up some resource deficit, but those pesky copters keep on coming. So it's out to the water, prompting Pencil to focus fire on S-Boy's abandoned starting base. Since S-Boy's got MiGs in the sky, Pencil changes strats and goes hard Navy, getting an aircraft carrier on the water and outside S-Boy's base. Pencil goes for the jugular, and S-Boy's super reactor goes up in smoke! That's a Joshi size boom boom, baby, boom boom! From there, Pencil launches a two-pronged assault, using riptides to take down the powerful underwater Akulas, while the carriers bombard S-Boy's northern expansion. S-Boy puts up a valiant effort, but the returning Allied Air Force seals the deal. Pencil walks away from Red 3 with his head held high. We'll miss you, buddy.
3.
Back to Kane's Wrath. We got a GDI Traveler 59 slug out between Wanted is back and Rara. Wanted opens strong, using a few squads of cultists to back up a regiment of Seekers. His army clashes in the southeast with some GDI base defenses and APCs, eventually being overwhelmed and pushed back into Scrin territory. Using his overwhelming number of APCs, Ra pursues and handily eliminates Wanted's forward base. And even though he eventually loses those numbers, Ra's got a foolproof backup plan. A second APC spam, anchored by a Marv. This follow-up attack does massive damage to Wanted's starting base, and it's looking bad for the Scrin. Wait! Wanted's got his own epic unit on the map, an Eradicator Hexapod, which chases Ra's Marv back to his expansion. But it's a trap! And the Marv sets up shop next to his war factory and constantly repairs as base defenses obliterate Wanted's epic unit strike force. A last-minute power down on the Marv by Wanted still can't save the day, and Rara takes the win in this ultra-violent standoff.
Rounding out our Riddler 3 action, it's Obsolete and Pro Dolphin Micro on Industrial Strength. Dolphin opens with a Vindicator Cryocopter combo. Seizing the moment, Obsolete rushes his MCV just outside Dolphin's base and starts putting up barracks and Tesla coils. Where can a Dolphin find refuge? On the high seas, of course! And he gets his MCV out onto the water and safe for now. His land base completely destroyed. Dolphin gets a new start on water, but Obsolete matches with a naval yard and some powerful Akulas, and the game is on! And what comes next is a slug out that we've never seen before. Obsolete builds naval yard after naval yard after naval yard, just inches from the allied MCV, forcing Pro Dolphin Micro to live up to his name. 11 naval yards later, people! Dolphin is still standing and marches his heroic assault destroyers onto land in a last-minute push. But it just gives Obsolete time to take up to Tier 3, boys, and push a couple dreadnoughts out of his 12 and 13 numbered naval yards. Dolphin counters with aircraft carriers, but Obsolete is a master of hard counters and has bullfrogs on hand. Neutralizing Dolphin's big guns and obliterating his final assault destroyers, Obsolete takes the title of Grand Admiral and the #1 Riddler 3 win for this month.
1.
Now it's time for a BattleCast 10 rematch featuring Tate20 and I am Thor, formerly known as the Interweb Gangsta. Thor expands to the south, getting Predators ready for an assault, but Tate won't get fooled again and gets his own Scorpions on the map to defend against the Gangsta. The armies clash and neither walks away with a clear victory. But what's this? Tate has used that time to fill the map with flame tanks, demolishing key structures while Thor edges his southern base closer and closer to Tate's starting tip field. Running out of room to expand, Thor sends his Predators into battle, but wave after wave breaks against the Nod defenses. So he sends his force to Tate's northern expansion, but can't manage a win. His army decimated, Thor has one option left. An engineer rush on Tate's Conyard. He takes the structure, but it's too late. His other bases have been destroyed, and Tate's army has no problem taking out a few final structures and recapturing the Conyard to win the game and reclaim his honor. Now we just need a tiebreaker, Tate. And that is your 10 for this month.
The 10, brought to you by Battleforge. Download the demo today at battleforge.com.
Who was your favorite commander on this month's BattleCast 10? Vote for your favorite at commandandconquer.com and you can see them on next month's main event.
I'm okay, go on.
All right, Aaron APOC Kaufman just put together another outstanding APOC's Corner. Let's take a look.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Aaron APOC Kaufman, your official C&C community manager. I've got a lot of stuff to go over this month in my corner, so let's get right to it with your community news. So as Dave and Raj mentioned earlier, Ladder Season 3 is in full swing and there's over $10,000 and a trip to Cologne, Germany at stake. Congratulations to the first top 8 for the Red Alert 3 and the Kane's Wrath 1v1 ladder. You guys did a great job. Keep up the great work and we'll see you online at the end of season Grand Championship. Qualification round 2 is now underway. If you want to find out more info on how you can partake, head over to our Ladder Season 3 section at commandandconquer.com. Well, you asked and we provided. I'd like you to meet Mr. Patch 1.11 for Red Alert 3. I'd like to send a special thanks out to each and every one of you in the community who contributed on the message boards to help us fix over 80 bugs and technical exploits and help the masterful Greg Black introduce a sweeping array of new balance changes. We've also added 2 new maps from Red Alert 3 Uprising to the original Red Alert 3 for multiplayer, and here to give you a little info on both is the professor himself, Mr. Greg Kasavin.
Thanks, Aaron. Let's take a look at 2 new maps from Patch 111. Spring Fever is a symmetrical 1v1 map centered around a large island with many small pools of water. The pools in the center form pathways that allow for player micromanagement with amphibious units and form a direct path between the player main bases. Adjacent to each player start location are 2 hills that are accessible from either direction. The larger hill contains an expansion ore mine and an oil derrick, while the smaller hill has a hospital tech structure. Both hills have a number of garrisonable structures that can be used defensively to block off these additional lanes, or offensively to set up an assault firebase. In the northwest and southeast corners of the map, dual ore mines float in the water, awaiting late-game expanders or early-game eco-boomers. Most players will want to expand directly to their hill, then choose to mount an assault on the enemy or play it defensively and grab those last two mines. Blitzen's Back is the spiritual successor to the popular Red Alert 2 map, Lake Blitzen. This is an asymmetrical map designed for 2v2 or free-for-all play, with player main bases starting in the northwest, southeast, southwest, and northwest corners. Players will find that they have a different gameplay experience at each of the starting locations. A team starting on the west side, for example, is closer to one another and to a small cluster of tech structures. Players on the east side of the map are further spread apart, but closer to the double expansions in the north and south. Two single expansions line the cliffs and tundra in the east and west, allowing for a safe expansion with less income. Oil derricks and hospitals are scattered around the center, forcing a fight for the middle in the early game. 4 additional ore mines line the water that make up the lake in the center of the map, allowing players that prefer amphibious units or water gameplay to effectively move out into the deep. Now back to you, Aaron.
In this month's Community Spotlight, it's another C&C Labs mod production, the Red Alert mod. These guys have been hard at work on one of their most ambitious projects to date. They're aiming to bring back the original gameplay and classic units of the original Red Alert onto our world-class 3D engine for Red Alert 3. All your favorite units are back, even those from Aftermath. Classic units, classic music, original gameplay, it's all there. They've just recently released some new screenshots and media on their official website and their moddb.com profile, so check them out. Our next spotlight comes from yet another Red Alert 3 mod. It's called Red Alert 3 Southern Rising. This mod alters the story of Red Alert 3 by adding a new threat from a secret Brazilian army called the Fourth. The Fourth emerged from the moon to crush the Allies, Soviets, and Empire in their own version of global domination. And they're doing it with alien saucers, hover tanks, cybernetic apes, crazy raging rabid, hungry video game addicted nerds, and lots of other crazy and zany and classic new units. And these guys are bringing in a new textured tile set for the Fourth to create a brand new looking environment for this crazy faction, as well as a bunch of other awesome new features for this breakout mod. All right, everyone, for my last call, I'd like to personally spotlight 2 amazing C&C fan artists, General Kane Nash and Existor. These extraordinary fan artists have been creating some of the most amazing C&C fan-made wallpapers since I've been community manager, and probably quite a bit longer. Well, I've actually shown my appreciation, and so has our dev team, by creating a special dedication page for Existor and General Kane Nash at commandandconquer.com to show off all of their best wallpapers. But Existor and General Kane Nash, you guys keep challenging the rest of the C&C community to create even better wallpapers and more fan art. I'm certainly looking forward to it. That's all from me this month. Back to you, Dave and Raj.
Thanks, Aaron. And I just want to say, man, I apologize for all the jokes recently. Seriously, you're a big part of this show. You've honestly brought it to new heights. Replacing you would be a tall order. Very tall.
Are you ever gonna run out of jokes about his height?
Only time will tell, my friend.
Glad to see you're back, Raj. And we'll be back to you with an awesome main event matchup when BattleCast Primetime continues on Command and Conquer TV.
Maxis presents the Space Captain in Spore Galactic Adventures. A galaxy of problems and one humble creature to tackle them. Witness our hero beam down to face impending doom. See his struggles as he rises from a zero to Galactic Hero. It's a test of might and will. Some obstacles he will overcome, while others... Spore Galactic Adventures, now with high-powered weaponry. Jump jungles, attack androids, freeze foes. It's futuristic innovation at its terrifying pinnacle. Spore Galactic Adventures, now with dangerous new missions. Navigate through mazes, protect an oracle, defend a priest, escort sacred scrolls, duel a monster, kill a dictator, battle enemy squads, and thwart an alien invasion. But wait, this isn't just your average space adventure. It's Spore Galactic Adventures. Adventure Creator. Create your own adventure. Create your own conflict. Turn water into lava. Beaches to shooting galleries. Creatures to giant creatures. Giant creatures to gigantic chaos. Bizarre to bizarrer. In Spore Galactic Adventures. And just when you think you've thought of it all, don't forget, this is just one adventure amongst countless others. Spore Galactic Adventures. Where will your adventures take your captain?
Tonight, on the main event, the competitors have entered the arena. Champions Whalecore and Blue Alert 3 battle it out before your very eyes. Who will claim the victory? It's time to find out. This is the main event. Welcome back to the main event. As we have customary, we got Jeremy Feasel, Greg Black, let us in on all the action. What's going on, guys?
Whalecore versus Blue Alert 3, also known as Paper Bag. Whalecore, very strong macro player. He likes to go the 4 refiners Japan, techs up to tier 2, gets those VXs to take out air units, gets those tsunamis to run over the infantry. While his opponent usually likes to use the sneakier tactics. He's probably going to stick with a 2 refinery. He might expand a little bit late. He's going to get airfield to grab that early air dominance, go for a fast tech, and probably pull out a Tanya. Keep in mind, folks, this is before Greg Black's wonderful patch 1.11. This is when Tanya can still come out before the DB, and the parachute drop speed is still very, very quick.
So now, Jeremy, I gotta ask a quick question. So, Whalecore consistently kind of overlooks the early scouting, doesn't really do it, which makes him susceptible to rushing. Do you think that's gonna play a factor in today's game?
Well, we also see that his opponent isn't really a very strong rush player himself. He might get in there with a couple of Tengu or a couple of Apollos and Vindicators, but his opponent hasn't ever really been shown to strongly use that early Vindicator micro. He prefers to use those more sneaky tactics later on. I don't think he's gonna be able to make enough of an impact during the early game to stop this 4 refineries, but you know, we'll see.
He studied up.
He did. He's ready to go, man. I just rolled out of bed.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe we can answer a question here. Why does Blue Alert 3 have 8 names to him?
It's called smurfing, actually, and what he wants to do is play on the ladder without actually having to put his reputation on the line.
I thought smurfing was banned in the United States.
It is, actually. We're just not very good at enforcing the ban.
All right, so what do you expect? You think Whalecore is going to win, or is Paper Bag going to put the bag over him?
You know, honestly, I haven't seen enough of these guys to really make a call. I'll go with Whalecore because I want to see the Japanese player win.
Well, we haven't gotten to the pick of the match yet. I'm just saying, who are you leaning towards?
Okay, I think it's anybody's game.
Okay. Feasel, who do you think has the upper advantage right now?
Honestly, in this matchup, knowing how the players sort of play, if Paper Bag doesn't appropriately scout his opponent's macro, he's probably not going to be able to overcome the Tsunami and VXs. I would actually say that Whalecore has the advantage here.
Okay. Well, that's what the initial reactions are. Let's see if our minds change when we go to Professor Greg Kasavin for the keys to victory.
Thanks, David and Raj. This should be an interesting match. Blue Alert 3 is a beast with the Allies' tough infantry units. If his Peacekeepers and Javelins don't get the job done, Tanya's likely to paradrop in and finish it. He's also good at microing with a well-balanced ground vehicle force, often including the Athena cannon and Mirage tank. We've also seen that he likes to push his MCV to the front, using the Allies' powerful multi-gunner turrets in enemy territory. Whalecore, on the other hand, is an Empire player who fights to the bitter end and uses some unorthodox build-up strategies to trip up his opponent. Watch out for his infantry waves early on, and be ready to deal with his armor divisions very soon after. Unlike a lot of Empire players, Whalecore likes teching straight to tsunami tanks, foregoing Mecha Tengus, and potentially leaving himself vulnerable to an early air attack. Whalecore's tactics are especially daring, considering he doesn't spend too much time scouting, even though he's got access to the burst drone, arguably the best scout unit in the game. Even still, he's good at maintaining a macro economy and keeping lots of pressure on the enemy. So who will come out on top? Here are tonight's keys to victory. Blue Alert 3 should get a scout on. When fighting the unpredictable Empire, it's important to keep an eye on your foe. He should rely on his strengths. The ground game is key to Blue Alert's previous wins and should be no less important here. And if he gets the chance, he should try striking with some Vindicator bombers or get some Apollos in the sky early to lock down the air, since Whalecore tends to forego Tengus. Whalecore should also make sure to get scouts on the map. Don't forget about that burst drone. He should also be sure to rush Blue Alert's base. An early strike could take advantage of his opponent's general lack of interest in base defenses. Lastly, Whalecore might want to switch up his strats and go the air route on this one. Blue Alert has had some weaknesses in anti-air in the past. It might just be the surprise he needs to pull off a win. And those are this month's keys to victory. It seems like a pretty even matchup between two great players, but I'm leaning slightly toward Blue Alert to pull ahead. I think his full-on allied infantry attacks will be difficult for the Empire to respond to, especially if Whalecore is going to skimp on those Tengus. Back to you, David and Raj.
Professor Kasavan, I'm gonna miss you the most. Always giving the keen insight on our players. Greg Black, on the other hand, not so much.
Not gonna miss me.
But you can give us some great recon with the map they're playing on tonight. Why don't you walk us through it?
Fire Island is a 1v1 volcanic map with plenty of room to expand. Each player starts with 2 ore mines, with a third hidden behind a mountain range. A fourth available mine anchors a possible forward expansion for each player, and a sea-based fifth mine gives players a reason to go to the water. The center of the map is made up of thin corridors separated by volcanic mountains, which can be used as choke points for enemy infantry. But watch out! Air units can fly over these mountains with ease. This is a community favorite because of its versatile nature and small close quarters combat.
All right, we know the players, we know the map. It's time to put our reputations on the line. Here we go, pick of the match, Greg Black.
I'm gonna go with Whalecore.
Why?
Because I'm feeling like it.
All right, good answer. Greg's in an interesting mood today. Mr. Feasel, you did the homework. Who are you leaning towards?
You know, in this particular match, I think it's really a toss-up. It's going to come down to who does their right initial scouting, who goes for the correct build order. Without being able to see that defensive bureau and being able to see that Tanya coming, I'm going to call it a paper bag Tanya from the behind.
Joshi, Smurfaholic.
Smurfaholic right here. Yeah, normally I'd go with Blue Alert 3, paper mache, you know, paper airplane guy, but I gotta go with Whalecore for the simple fact that Whalecore playing as Japan is probably gonna be the most politically incorrect thing I've heard in a long time. So, Whalecore, you got my vote.
All right, and normally I side with Greg Black, but he obviously didn't do the homework and Feasel did. So I'm actually gonna go with Papa Smurf. I think he's gonna take it all the way. There you go, our bets are in. Gentlemen, let the games begin. Tonight's matchup is between Papa Smurf and his opponent Whalecore on Fire Island. Greg Black, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, here we are on Fire Island. We've got Whalecore in the northeast corner playing as Sky Blue Japan, and down in the southwest corner we've got Blue Alert 3 playing, confusingly enough, as Yellow Alice.
Our northern player going for the typical Japan opening. He's got his power plants, got his barracks up. His opponent is going for exactly what we've seen him do in several other.
Ooh, this kid's a rush. This looks like a rush going on.
He's going his typical dual Peacekeeper spam. He's going to try to grab this oil derrick that's just up and to the right of where we're looking at right now. He's going to post up there. Wow, he's probably going to drag his MCV up in that direction, and then he's going to make a turret push on the right side of the island.
Have you seen this before? I mean, this is like pretty like
yeah, this is basically as prototypical as it gets for allied players on Fire Island. I mean, this is what they do.
So, gents, here's the major problem with this thing, is that it's preventing him going over to that left side from seeing what his opponent's doing on this right side. It would have been a much smarter idea to split up his Imperial Warriors so that he could scout all 3 lanes in this particular map.
So I totally agree with you. It would have been a smarter idea, Jeremy, but you have to assume Whalecore knows what he's doing enough to expect this opener from the allied player on this map.
It's very, very traditional on this map. I would assume that he does. And I think he honestly understands that his opponent is a little bit weak against harassment attacks, so he's trying to put a little bit of pressure on him very, very early. He's built the airfields that we discussed a little bit earlier. He's probably sold off his barracks. If we can scroll to the right just slightly, yeah, we can see that he sold off one of his barracks. He's gone away from the Peacekeeper spam, built the airfield. He's now trying to combat those Tengus with the Apollo Vindicator micro.
Although we'll see how long he's able to actually hold on to the air dominance once the Apollos show up. But
so this is, I mean, I love to see this kind of stuff from Paperbag. We've seen him traditionally send in some units and not very cost effectively counter his opponent. In this case, it's obvious that he's really on the ball. He was able to get in there, take out a Tengu, and get out before losing a single one of his Apollos. Nice move.
So what I want to know here is why Whalecore isn't being a little more aggressive in the harassment. I mean, he's got lots of opportunities to harass. He's got the right units for it.
Whalecore has traditionally been known as a not very high harassment player, though. He likes to build up this very strong mid-game unit mix and really force his opponent to not cost-effectively send stuff after him so that when he does make his strong push, he's able to just completely roll over a less than cost-effective force.
Oh, and here we go. The first Allied War Factory's out.
Here you go, Greg. I made your sign.
Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
This is a pretty strong force here. He's afraid of his opponent taking air dominance away from him and moving in with a huge swath of VXs. What he doesn't know is that his opponent has also built a significant number of tank busters, and those are just going to rip through.
So I'm like waiting here. I mean, like, this is like, all right, here we go. We got some action going on now. It looks like we're finally here. The thing that I always find interesting is that, I mean, I go for the strategy of the best defense is a good offense, and these guys, they're kind of like hankering back, and I don't know.
Meanwhile, his opponent really loves to go up and tech up to Tanya and use Tanya incredibly well to take out entire bases. So we've got two very defensive players that love teching to tier 3. We're probably just going to see them both pick up 4 or 5 refineries, go straight to tier 3, and then have a big tier 3 battle.
So this is kind of like a turtle match, as you could say.
Turtling, but this isn't quite turtling because there are no defensive structures. This is very offensive turtle, which is very, very smart for high-end players.
Right, and I mean, at this point, I'm looking at this force that Whalecore has, and it's like, come on, man, get in there. He could do some serious damage if he would just commit to an attack.
Right, get in the game, buddy!
This is just a ridiculous force to go up against. Blue Alert 3 has stuck up to tier 3 himself. He's got some Mirage tanks, but they don't appear to be here in this battle.
And I mean, the DPS of those tank busters alone is just a scary thing.
That can shoot right through everything his opponent has.
So this is not looking good
so he's
for
got his Mirage tank up in the front there.
Yeah.
His opponent isn't focus firing on that Mirage tank, so that Mirage tank's doing an incredible amount of damage, just kind of sitting there by itself. He's focus firing instead on the tank, so now he's seen the Mirage tank, so he's able to take it out. But for a significant amount of time there, his opponent was able to use that Mirage tank with incredible DPS response.
That is exactly the wrong way to handle a Mirage tank.
Now, I was just going to give a shout out to the artists that made all the units and structures and VFX. I mean, it just looks awesome, and especially with these guys teching up. You see some really cool units. I mean, it's just, like, that's the stuff that really turns me on when I watch RTS.
Oh, we get Tanya!
There it is.
Good old Jenny.
And
back for more.
I'm betting she's going to get stuck in a sentry bomber, and that's going to get dropped off at the back of his opponent's base.
And look, there it goes. Let's track it. Let's track it.
This is going to
be
bad
This is sort
news.
of one of his signature moves. He's very known for this. He's just really
Could be bad. Oh, wow.
That gets Tanya out. She hits the ground
And she did.
Dies almost immediately. Didn't even.
Oh, there's a Eureka there. Did you even see her build?
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, this is quite the tier 3 army from Japan. We rarely see this many King Onis, Wave Force artillery, and Eureka.
If that Tanya attack would have worked, he probably could have taken out his whole opponent's base, all of his production structures.
It's not looking good for Papa Smurf here.
It didn't work. No. His opponent has a heroic level artillery unit that can just take out any defensive structures he has.
It's not going to be good.
This is far too large of an attack force. I would give it completely in the back to Whalecore right now. I don't think his opponent has a chance.
You're not going to be quite such a pro tip in the next patch.
And they just took out your MCV. Well, this is pretty much GG.
I mean, Rocket Angels, Eureka, Wave Force.
Conservative approach paid off, it seems.
It has.
I will never judge a person for running away from a fight again.
See, Whalecorp decided to show a little forbearance and hide his numbers a little bit, pad the quarter, and then he attacked at the end. That's not good for my prediction.
No, I was going to give some advice based on this match. I'd say paper bag.
bag.
You really have to pay attention to how many expansions your opponent has, and you have to keep up with them.
Wow, he gave you advice.
Wow,
that's nice.
Personal advice.
Actually, my advice, Papa Smurf, is you need to come up with a new name because that one just got totally bunked on BattleCast Primetime, buddy.
And I can't help but notice, Dave, that you went against me for the first time in a long time.
And I lost.
And lost.
The one time.
Yeah,
the one time. All right. And it's the last time, too. That's a terrible way to end it. Well, there you have it. So, Greg, what do you say is the key decision factor here? What do you think is the play of the game?
Ooh, play of the game. It's hard to say because it was such sort of a defensive thing. I mean, I think the play of the game was really Whalecore's ability to counter the Tanya drop. The Tanya drop could have done a ton of damage to him. He saw it, countered it. I think it won him the game.
Play of the game, Feasel?
I'd give it to Whalecore's macro management. He was able to get up those 5 refineries, defend them well throughout the entire game. He knew that was his opponent's weakness, and he didn't even have to really scout during this game. He just knew, I'm going to have 25% more income than you during the entire game, and therefore, I'm going to win.
My play of the game actually goes to Raj Joshi, who decided to comment about things getting overlooked, and we overlooked him multiple times. Well, there you go. That's all the time we have for you guys today. Head on over to www.commandandconquer.com and tell us what you think by filling out our monthly BattleCast Primetime survey. Also, don't forget to BattleCast your C&C 3 Kane's Wrath or Red Alert 3 match for a shot to be featured here on BattleCast Primetime. For Aaron Kaufman, Greg Kasavan, Greg Black, Jeremy Feasel, Raj Joshi, I'm I'm David Silverman, signing off for the last time. That was sort of it. Anti-dramatic. Joshi, see you on the battlefield.